Awesome. So we already have some folks in the room. I appreciate you all being very on time. Hasn't even hit 2 o'clock Eastern. Oh, there we go. And it hit 2 o'clock Eastern as I say that. Well, we appreciate you for being on today's call. We're going to cover what's new in Acumatica's latest release, 2025 R2. And this is part one, which is the first time we've actually done that at PC Bennett in terms of splitting it into two separate parts. We're going to give it like 2 more minutes, let some more folks kind of trickle in, and then we'll really get into the meat of today's substance. The meat of today's call, but we appreciate you being here. And one thing that I can say while we wait for people to join is because there is going to be a part two, we'd really love to get feedback from you folks about if there's certain sections of today's call that you are particularly interested in. We could maybe go a little bit deeper in part two, but we still have some general topics that we will be covering in part two. And then if there's additional info that you guys are really seeking out, we're more than happy to try and incorporate that the best we can. So as always, there's the comment section. So just use the comment section if you have any questions throughout today's call, or whether you think one part is particularly engaging or interesting. And that'll really help gauge the additional sections of part two that we are going to do later in November. You will all be receiving an invite for that probably in 2 weeks. We have the PC Bennett team. I'm really grandstanding here, I'm realizing. The PC Bennett team has a fun time planned in Las Vegas next week. We're going to be at the SEMA show as well as Apex, which are very cool events in the automotive aftermarket industry. And so it's always very exciting for us to be able to go there and talk about how Auto Fitment Plus makes Acumatica kind of the perfect solution for those folks. And I know some of you guys on the call today also use Auto Fitment Plus. So it's just a really nice environment to be in. But yeah, once we're back from SEMA and Apex, I will make sure to send out an invite for part two of today's webinar. And with that, I grandstanded for 2 minutes exactly. So I think we can actually jump into it. You feeling good, Nathan? You ready to go?
Yeah, I feel very good.
Okay,
excited about this.
Yeah. So hello again, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar on the newest enhancements to Acumatica and their latest release, 2025 R2. I'm thrilled to have you all in attendance to learn about these new updates and how they will help you work more efficiently and effectively. Before we really jump into the heavy content of today's call, just some quick introductions. As some of you may know, I am Strati Moustakis, the marketing manager here at PC Bennett. I've been running the webinars for a couple of years now, and I am joined by the perfect person to take you guys through 2025 R2, which is Nathan Newberg, our technical sales engineer. You might have met him during the sales process as he was demoing Acumatica for you folks, or maybe he demoed something like shipping container management after you have already been a customer of ours. So he's going to take you through the actual demonstration of what 2025 R2 looks like. I'm really just going to talk at a high level about what each different new feature or enhancement is. And then, yeah, he'll show you what it really is. And that's why he's here, because I certainly do not have the skill or capability to do that, but he's perfect for it. So I was saying just a couple of moments ago, but this is just a general reminder. We do have like the comment section enabled. So if you have any questions around what we're covering on today's call, please just let us know and we will try to answer those live on the call. If it's a more in-depth of a question and we don't necessarily think that we can answer it without kind of totally derailing where we're going, we're absolutely going to get you in contact with your customer success manager, and we will make sure that they support you through the question that you have, and they'll do some pretty rigorous follow-up to make sure all your questions are answered. Additionally, this is really going to be the tip of the iceberg in terms of what is coming out in 2025 R2. So we are actually going to split this up into a what's new in 2025 R2 series. As you can see on the title slide that we're showing you right now, this is part one. We're going to do a part two in November, and you'll be getting invites for that probably in the next 2 weeks. So if you do see any features that you are really interested in today, please let us know, and that can help us provide some additional deep dive into those sections when we do part two. We do have some pretty standard stuff that Nathan and I have already decided that we want to cover. I'll give you a peek behind the curtain. There's going to be some like retail integration stuff that we cover. So like with BigCommerce, Shopify, and Amazon. But then we have some other topics that we're going to be covering as well. But if there's something from today's call that does interest you, let us know, and we can try and do a bit of a deeper dive if necessary on part 2. So with that, if we could jump to the agenda, Nathan, that'd be fantastic. Thank you. So we are going to start off talking about some core platform updates. Acumatica did get a bit of a facelift in 2025 R2 that's going to be generally available for all users. So you're going to see what that looks like. We're going to dive into some manufacturing enhancements after that. Then we're going to jump into distribution efficiency gains. And I called it efficiency gains because it's really about using automation. They really are emphasizing that in the distribution portion of the system. And so we're going to look at how they're automating some specific distribution functionality. And then, like I said, we're gonna end this by wrapping up and telling you guys what we're gonna cover in part 2, as well as take any questions that you folks may have. So again, use the comment section at your will. I don't know if I'm setting Nathan and I up for doom by saying at your will. Okay, so let's jump into the actual meat of today's call, Nathan. If we could go into the platform update slide, perfect. So we are going to show you all the new modern user interface that is available to all Acumatica users who upgrade to version 2025 R2. This is a great development because the UI has been in production and available to a limited set of users for quite some time, but now it's generally available. So once you upgrade, you are going to have the ability to see this new facelift, like I called it earlier, and you'll be able to feel the benefit of this more intuitive interface. So Nathan's now going to show you all how to quote unquote flip the switch to turn it on, and someone in your organization with administrator privileges is going to be the person doing this. So Nathan, I'll pass it over to you.
Great, thanks, Strati. Yeah, if you are on Acumatica's software as a service offering, you won't have to worry about this. If you're a new customer to Acumatica, just joining us, the modern UI will be turned on by default. That can be done in the website configuration. Again, if you're the administrator and you are managing a private cloud, there's a new switch when you're installing a new instance, and Acumatica's software as a service team takes care of that most of the time. That said, we also have a new switch in the user interface. So here we're looking at a dashboard, but if you flip over to the site preferences, if you are one of those customers that is upgrading and not a brand new fresh install, we now have a default UI toggle right here in the site preferences. That's going to change the UI for the entire site. So again, you don't have to do this necessarily page by page like you did as it was being rolled out. Now we have a site-wide switch, which is great. If you want to have control over that on a page-by-page basis, those things can be modified and reviewed in the sitemap. You can see which screens are accepting the default and whether you have that turned on as modern or as classic. That will show here. Or you can show only those screens which are reserved in classic mode. So again, we've got the whole site up and running now. It's very smooth, and really, really like the way this is turning out in terms of user experience. A couple of things, if you wanted to change this on a document level screen, you do have the switch to option in the gear icon or the settings icon here on the screen. You can switch to classic or to modern. If you're in classic, this will say modern, and then you can toggle back and forth. One thing to note, though, this is not yet supported for reports. So if you're running Invoice and Memo or any of the out-of-the-box reports designed in Report Designer, we don't have modern UI yet here. That said, I have heard a lot of interesting rumors about Report Designer coming to our web browser experience here rather than a standalone program. And that said, some of the things like these new hex code pickers for color are going to come in really handy when we're designing new reports. So that's a little bit about the modern UI. If you want to learn more about those settings and how we can personalize the modern UI site-wide or individually, and managing user-defined fields in Acumatica's new UI is much more powerful. We've actually got a little bit of a deep dive into that. If you jump into our YouTube, you can see our previous 25R1 feature review where we talk about user-defined fields on document screens and how we can show those and hide them and use them more effectively now. All right, Strati, if you want to take us back into the next.
Perfect. So the next thing we are going to talk about is actually the screen Nathan was just showing, which is dashboards in the modern UI. So now that we have the modern UI enabled, we can see how it actually looks and feels within Acumatica. One of the most striking differences visually that you can see is dashboards looking, they have a much more unique look to them. They do feel like, I mean, it's called modern UI. It literally does look and feel more modern versus what Acumatica was prior. They have a cleaner, more visual appealing style, at least in my humble opinion. And one of the key benefits here for you all is the way the new UI is built. I'm not necessarily a developer or coding expert by any means, and I certainly mean that with all my heart. But Acumatica's awesome in-house team has created this new presentation of dashboards in a way that allows them to perform faster than ever before, and that allows users to create and modify dashboards much more efficiently. So Nathan, I'm going to pass it over to you, and you can demonstrate what these dashboards look like and how you're able to alter them and kind of move them around with much more ease.
Awesome. Thank you, Strati. Okay, yeah, so we're looking at a dashboard here. Again, we've got a whole new look and feel. You can see immediately everything has been completely redesigned, rebuilt from the ground up. It's more intuitive, it's sleeker, it's faster. Looking at the customer view dashboard, we do have a redesigned top bar where you're going to find filters. Normally you have a parameter here. You can search for a customer, can still do that. We can also save filters like before, although they appear a little bit differently now in a list as opposed to tabs. So if you wanted to filter to a remembered status, again, you've got one filter there to show all of your remembered settings. Now, if you wanted to change the way these filters work, we do have an advanced filter modifier now. So again, you can get in there and change the way the filters are working with more intuitive design around your multiple criteria if you're using operators like and or conditions, making this a little bit more dynamic. If we jump into the design mode, you can see it's a lot easier to move things. They sort of slide out of the way. I can resize these even smaller. And again, not having a lot of shuffle when we move things around. This new interface makes a much more user-friendly experience. The new widget properties dialog box also is going to show us those advanced filters a lot more cleanly, and again, with color and shading to help us understand how things are going on quickly and visually. Things like parameters, if you were to select the parameter from the dashboard on the widget and save that, again, a lot cleaner ways to modify dashboards to your needs. One of Acumatica's highest rated features. All right, Strati, what's next?
Cool. So we're going to stay kind of talking about this modern UI, and we are going to look at pivot tables. So pivot tables are a fantastic way to kind of simply and quickly summarize data. And in 2025 R2, we see that Acumatica has revamped pivot table functionality to make your time looking at generic inquiry forms that much more efficient. For those unfamiliar with the use of pivot tables, they support in-depth analysis of information from multiple perspectives, so you have a greater ability to make better informed decisions. One of the key new enhancements here is that pivot table views are separated from the filters functionality. So you can now apply the same filter both to a table and pivot data displays. Nathan, with that, if you could kind of dive into pivot tables, I think that'd be great for our audience.
Yeah, absolutely, my pleasure. This is really one of those features that really attracted me to Acumatica when I found the software about 6 years ago. I think it was around the time they first started introducing pivot tables. Pivot tables was something I relied on heavily in Excel with all of the disconnected systems I was using before Acumatica. And having pivot tables in the software directly and available on dashboards and things like that to summarize data and make quick decisions really was one of those great features. Another piece of my personal journey with Acumatica was when I was looking at the software, then they were talking about this future-proof platform. And I was skeptical, like anybody looking at a big purchase would be. You got to make sure that you're making the right decision. They were using terms like future-proof and architecture and the way that the software is built. And again, having lived with Acumatica now for a few years and experienced this firsthand, the promises they made are really being delivered. We're really able to do major changes to software without completely redesigning it because of the way it's been thought out very thoughtfully from the very beginning. Again, so you're looking at a table here. If we're we're looking at the invoice items table in Acumatica, one of our generic inquiries. And you can see we've got a new little button over here on the upper right, which allows us to switch views. If I switch to the invoice items pivot, that's going to calculate for me real quick. It takes a minute to do the first time, but the first time it calculates, again, it's going to remember all of that. And because we've separated the data layer from the presentation layer, we're going to be able to switch back and forth between these pivot views and table views much more quickly now. All right, so getting multiple perspectives on your data. Again, you've got your quarters across the top here and your customers across the down the side. But if we wanted to see that by years, again, switching a view happens really quickly. The second time. The first time it's going to calculate those things, and then we're gonna see the view change. That said, keep in mind that the old screens where we built pivot tables in the classic UI are going to be deprecated. Existing pivot tables built in those views are going to be migrated, and standalone will be saved as tabs as well. So this older view, the familiar view you're looking at for pivot tables, or the invoiced items pivot previous dedicated view, those screens are going to be deprecated. Now we're going to have the ability to change pivot tables right here in the UI. You can see as I hover, I've got a settings, a gear icon here where I can view the pivot table settings, change my rows and columns, the way things are summarized, or whether they're collapsed by default, and how we're subtotaling things. A lot quicker way to get to that. And looks like we're still working here. And getting back to that table view again makes it very easy. Having shared filters, if your old pivot tables were shared, they will remain shared. So again, you're not losing anything by upgrading to the modern UI, or the new UI refresh, rather. You're going to get all those existing things there for you and converted automatically. All right, Strati, what's next? I think we're going to the calendar board.
Yes, so we are going to the calendar board. Another great development in the world of the modern UI, that's a very recurring theme on today's call, you're going to find out, is how calendar boards are displayed. So when you do field service, your calendar is truly the heart of your operation, right? It keeps your teams on time and ensures your customers have great experiences. With the new modern UI, your calendars are smarter and faster to ensure your team is performing at the top of their game. There are plenty of great features Nathan's going to demo for us, but to quickly summarize, you're going to have an easier time navigating scheduled appointments. There is an unscheduled tab, which is an easy way to find service orders that need to be scheduled. And then there is a map view that helps route team members between appointments. And lastly, there's also a link that helps you always return to today. So whether you're looking at old appointments from last week or trying to schedule a month out, returning to the present takes just a second. So Nathan, I'm going to pass it over to you and you can show modern calendar board.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. All right, we're loading up the modern calendar board here now. And again, this is a very powerful new screen that Acumatica has introduced. All of the features here are functional. They're really helpful for getting around. You can see we've got some panels. We've got the main panel here in the center. If I select a date with some activity, you can see we're going to go straight to October 28th. Looking at the main screen, keep in mind that this new screen does so many things. It's going to replace 6 of our old forms, including one that was only available with a customization. So things like the staff calendar board, staff appointments on a map, the appointment history on a map. We've got new map functionality that we're going to be demoing in part 2. Staff working schedule, room calendar, and staff calendar board, again, all deprecated, being replaced by the functionality available here on the new calendar board. So if you're doing field service and you're scheduling a lot of appointments or services and you need to send a technician with specific skills, on the unscheduled tab, you're going to see a list of all of your orders here. We can search quickly for a customer or a service. We can also search for things like service order number, description, customer's ID or name, address in address line 1. We can search for phone numbers, email addresses, service order detail descriptions, and description of problems associated with the service order. So again, if you're reacting to something that's going on out there, you've got a call, you need to search for something quickly, having that right here and a quick search is great. Things are going to appear here on the unscheduled tab, or at least here in this list, if you have a service order with the appointment needed checkbox and requiring scheduling on the line item selected. So we can expand the details of these orders. If I wanted to understand what's going on, I've got a summary view here. I can make that a little bigger, get some more information. I can see that no staff has been assigned, but I know where we're going. If we are to select one of these, we've got some icons here that show us things like priority. As soon as I select the order, you can see that now our skills and service technicians are being filtered by what criteria are available. I can select a single service within an order here, and again, have some more skills filtering. If the service technician is not in the area, we can have that configured to either warn us or prevent us from scheduling these technicians. And again, also if we have a skill mismatch, if a certain technician does not have the skill to install this wireless area network, they're going to be listed here in red very quickly and easily able to see which technicians we have available to do these things, capable of doing these things, and exactly when we're going to be able to assign them. As I drag this over to the calendar view here, you can see visually, I know how long this appointment is scheduled to take. It shows a block according to the size of the order. So again, we've got a 1 hour appointment here, looks smaller than a longer appointment. As I drag that over onto the board, dropping it there is going to create an appointment for us. So say I want to send Martin out around 1:30 this afternoon, I drag and drop that, and now Martin becomes assigned as the technician on this order. And again, we're creating an appointment at the same time we're making this assignment. Dragging a single service is going to schedule only that service. So if we're looking for something like a maintenance service, right? And we've got a few orders here with different services available. If I select just the network maintenance service, that shows me Rick can do it. If I select the data center maintenance, I've got a couple other people who are capable. So again, data center there or network maintenance. And if I drag just that skill, we're able to even split up some of these orders according to different technicians. So let's get Rick out there later this afternoon. And if I wanted to have Alberto available to help, I can drag the technician's name to the appointment and assign a second technician to that appointment. So now we know they're going to be sharing that. We can see here quickly at a glance that 2 orders are scheduled. This new pane on the right side, on the left side here, is capable of infinite scrolling too. So as you get down to the bottom, you can see we're loading more orders, and again, bringing our user interface into a more familiar and modern user experience. The scheduled tab is going to show me anything that's already been scheduled. Anything scheduled and possibly unassigned is going to appear here in the top row of the main panel. So we know that some of these appointments need help, right? We can see that the date on the scheduled order, if I select that, my calendar is automatically going to jump to that date for me. So I can see the order on the day, and maybe I need to have someone out there to help. Max is going to head out to help David with that appointment. Again, you can see we've got 2 technicians on one appointment. One's got to come from a farther distance. We've got some filters up at the top, like Dave and Max. They work well together. Switching to the quick filter is going to enable us to see those remembered settings. So again, the main area, we can see this in a day or a week or an entire month view. Holding control and scrolling in and out on the views changes the scale of the view, so you can zoom in and out to get more detail. So we talked about assigning appointments and assigning technicians. If I wanted to create a new appointment on the board, I could do that too by just dragging an empty block into the space. That's going to give me the opportunity to select a customer, add some details, and create an appointment, again, in 2 clicks, literally, no time at all. If you want to know more about some of these color-coded statuses that we have, very helpful for understanding the status of orders. Things like green are going to be active, yellow and orange, etc., are going to have some other statuses. If the appointments are striped, for example, that's going to show you that the appointment has been assigned but not confirmed. On the field service section of the help documents or the release notes, there's also a clear visual indicator, a key code there to see exactly what those colors mean, so you can get more in-depth information there.
Real quick, Nathan, when you say the stripe means it's not confirmed and we're actually on the perfect page for it, that means it's not confirmed by the staff member, right? As opposed to maybe a customer not confirming that they're available at that time.
Correct. Okay, so forgive me, I'm still learning the new statuses here as well. So white with stripes means the appointment is unconfirmed and unassigned. Blue with stripes means it's unconfirmed, but has been assigned. And again, the appointments are confirmed without stripes. If we look at the calendar board, we can also right-click on these appointments, assign or unassign, and then confirm or unconfirm appointments as well. So maybe we want to confirm that cash connection appointment later this afternoon. We can do that quickly with a right-click. Again, having that visual indication of what needs to be done at a simple glance is a huge improvement. All right, so again, I was going to talk about the map view. This is going to take a little more setup, so we're going to cover that in our next webinar, but also a lot of functionality available here when it comes to selecting appointments and technicians. We're going to be able to see if we have settings enabled and permission turned on, even GPS real-time coordinates of where technicians are in relation to those appointments, unassigned and assigned. All right, so with that, I think we'll lead into the next section. Strati, if you can bring us up to our manufacturing enhancements.
Yeah, so there's kind of a natural segue that we're going to be covering here, where we were just looking at the modern calendar board for service, but now we're going to look at how you can be smarter in production scheduling with the modern UI. And the main things we are going to talk about in this next section are the production order view form and the production schedule board. These two powerful tools allow manufacturers to spot delays earlier, understand dependencies more clearly, and make smarter scheduling decisions. First, the production order view form provides an overview of materials and scheduling statuses at every level of your production process, and the production schedule board offers an improved master planning view of all production orders across your entire operation. These two tools help you see material and operation statuses at all levels, get a clear real-time overview of production orders and sub-assemblies in one place, and they use kind of that same color-coded indicators that Nathan and I were just talking about to make it even easier to quickly identify things like delays, early orders, and potential exceptions. So Nathan, I'm going to pass it over to you and we can dive right into this.
All right, thank you. So yeah, let's go ahead and open up one of the existing screens. We've got some interesting enhancements now available to non-APS customers. So if you're not using advanced planning and scheduling in Acumatica, you're going to get some new capabilities, even with the standard manufacturing base. So now this is enabled with manufacturing. You're going to get access to a work center capacity screen, as well as the work center schedule screen, to give you some better visibility into your infinite scheduling. So we're able to do this without charging more, because a couple of those fields or columns that are included with APS are going to be hidden by default. So things like scheduled blocks or available blocks, or your scheduled utilization percentage, you're not going to have. But with the ability to see total blocks and how many are planned, again, you're going to be able to get better visibility into your work center capacity over time. All right, so reaching into that new view, right? We do have a new production order view. This is also available with or without production scheduling, the advanced production scheduling. If we're looking at a sales order here, we sold a Keurig to a microchip restaurant earlier in the year. We have a production number associated with it, so we can see the existing order that went with that. From the production order maintenance screen, now we have a quick link to the production order view. Of course, this is available in the menu and you can jump straight there as well. But if you're looking at an order, this might be the quickest way to get to that production order view. So you can see we've got a Gantt chart here. We've got some panels that can be expanded or collapsed. Maybe I want to show some more of my visual here. I can collapse some operations and see just the operations that are open. Changing my view here from hours to days gives me a different timeline view. I can display or hide any remaining materials that might be needed for this production order. And quickly, I can see any color coding or statuses, including whether an order has been delayed or it's past due, quickly at a glance. And the spaghetti lines are going to show me dependencies. So this order that we're late on is waiting on this one. And again, we've got to hurry things up to make our deadlines. So a little bit more on those colors and statuses available in the help docs. I'm not going to go through every one of them. But again, Acumatica does publish the release notes in a very easy to view way on their help documentation website. And all of the colors and icons and statuses are explained there for you. Right-clicking on an order in the production schedule view or production order view is going to give us the ability to expand those settings and understand more details. We can change constraint dates. We can change the scheduling method and dispatch priority right from this screen and not having to leave. We can also, again, get some more information about the operations and materials down below in the panel below. So if we wanted to understand the details of the order we're selected on here, again, the panel down below is going to update for us automatically. When I click the Display Remaining Materials tab, we're going to see all of those in list view as well. So having Work Center availability, capacity, how much time we need, and all the materials, and a visual Gantt view, timeline view of this is going to really give us more ability to take immediate action when needed. Okay, in addition to the production order view, the production schedule board for those who are using the advanced planning and scheduling features of Acumatica has also been completely revamped and enhanced with these new features. Let's set some relevant dates here and we can get some views. Maybe we'll go through the end of September where we've got some data. Go ahead and select that. If I wanted to get back to today, there is a quick way to do that. Strati mentioned it earlier, but I forgot to cover it. Anytime you're looking at a calendar picker in Acumatica, today at the bottom is also a hyperlink. So if you click that, that's going to input today's date with just a single click. Very, very convenient when needed. All right, so let's go ahead and select a month with some view. We're looking here at a day view. Again, we're seeing hours across the top. If I were to hold Control and scroll down, another way of selecting the week view, we're going to get a more robust view of our entire production timeline here, again, in the week view. The Work Centers panel down below is showing us all of the Work Center capacity and giving us, again, a quick visual glance at what's going on in a particular Work Center at any one time. So if we can see if something is overloaded, we might need to make some changes. Also, the ability to save new filters, create and save new filters on both the list view here and the main view, give us quick ways to get to remembered data. All right, so I think we covered just about all the things I wanted to talk about on the new production scheduling boards. Very handy, very fancy, very fast and efficient for real world situations. All right, you want to bring us into what's next?
Sure. So we're still on manufacturing now.
Yes.
Yeah, you're all good. So we are done with calendars, folks. We are mostly done with modern UI outside of the stuff that you're going to see Nathan demonstrating, but we're done highlighting the new parts about that. We are actually going to talk about lot and serial attributes for manufacturers. Now, that might ring a bell for those of you who actually attended the 25R1 webinar that we did. Because lot and serial attributes are added for distributors, but not for manufacturers. So Acumatica is spreading the love and making sure that manufacturers also get those same kind of features in their instance. So as you know, as manufacturers, tracking the detail of individual lot or serial items brings real world tangible benefits like ensuring consistent product quality, supporting compliance with industry regulations, and improving inventory accuracy. That is exactly what Acumatica is bringing to manufacturers in 25R2. But and so yeah, these lot and serial attributes, they make it easier to capture and manage product details at the lot and serial level across core workflows. Well, previously in 25R1, across core workflows like sales orders, inventory receipt, and inventory management. What's new today is you're going to see those same attributes tracked. I'm so sorry. You can now attribute those same values to tracked items during the receipt of finished goods into inventory and issue materials with particular lot and serial attributes to production orders. There we go. I was able to finally get it out. Sometimes you stumble over your words. So that's it. I need to take a breather after that one. So Nathan, I'm going to pass it over to you, and you show us lot and serial attributes.
You got it, man. All right. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a stock item screen here where we can see the first evidence of these new features. Once you've got it turned on, enabled, in other words, in the Enable Features dialog, on the attributes screen of a stock item, if these lot serial attributes exist with the associated lot class, you're going to see evidence of that here. We can accept special items if they don't apply to the class. And again, having individual item control makes Acumatica very powerful in a granular system. That said, if we do assign a lot or serial class, and I'll drill in here to our lot and serial class SN lot, which we have set up with some new attributes. So again, the lot serial class is where we define the attributes. Attributes like others in Acumatica, we can set up user-defined fields. This one called lot number is a text field. We can use an entry mask or regular expression to limit or control the amount of data and the form of data that goes into those fields. We've got a new data type also with our attributes, including a number field. So we can do some really cool things with calculations on those fields when we're talking about lot and serial class items and the attributes associated with a particular unit in a lot, or a particular lot unit or particular serial unit. Those numeric features can, values can be useful. All right, so again, now we have the lot and serial class set up. We have it associated with a stock item. Now, when we go to produce that stock item, and again, I've got an example sales order here that I set up prior with a new Keurig Model 5000 with a new lot tracked or a lot specific features and those lot values available. So again, we've got a production order number here. If I were to drill into the production order, I can see, again, all of the evidence of the order. The order has been completed on the move transaction, where we complete the production and move the inventory out of work in process and into our finished goods. I'll open up the move screen where we can see now where we have the attributes feature available on the line details screen. So when we're doing the move, we can immediately enter those lot serial attributes. Doesn't have to be a second operation anymore. We move the inventory into inventory before, and then we would have to go and add the details to the lot. We can do this directly from the move transaction now in process. We'll input those details. If we had many serial numbers or lot numbers, we could quickly copy and use the attributes from the first line for all of those as well. So again, quick ways to get lot attributes into your manufacturing production orders directly in Flow. So, okay, all right, that's it about lot serial attributes in the new UI. If we want to move on to the next section.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about AI for a little bit, which is always, AI is quite the buzzword nowadays. But what's important about how Acumatica is integrating it within its existing platform is that it is using it in a pragmatic way that's really mainly just focused on helping businesses. There are other AI features that we're actually most likely going to show you on part 2. Nathan and I still have to figure out some of the back-end logistics of how we would actually demonstrate that. But to start with something that's more usable and available to manufacturers starting right now today, we are going to talk about spotting cost inefficiency anomalies with AI-powered insights. So identifying and understanding variances in your production process is a really crucial way of ensuring that you're running an efficient and profitable business, right? Acumatica understands this. And like I said, they're leveraging AI in a really pragmatic way to help you spot anomalies early. That just makes sure that you don't run into any costly problems. There are now new generic inquiry screens that, when combined with anomaly detection, that is another buzzword that we talked about in 25R1, they help you monitor materials lost, labor time, production totals, and even employee efficiency. What does this mean for your business? Well, you can now automatically detect deviations in cost and time without needing to comb through endless amounts of reports. You can improve bill of materials accuracy, labor planning, and material sourcing with data-backed evidence. And lastly, you can act on what matters most, like underperforming materials. So Nathan, I'm going to pass it over to you so you can kind of show what this looks like in the platform.
Awesome, thank you. All right, let's get some real estate back here. So yeah, we've got 4 new inquiries provided by Acumatica in regard to manufacturing. There are a few others as well, where anomaly detection has been enabled. This is, again, a setting that you're going to turn on in your Enable Disable Features screen. And anomaly detection is not turned on by default for these inquiries. It's very easy to set up, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But because of the way things are growing so fast in this industry, the current system currently supports anomaly detection on no more than 10 generic inquiries at a time. So again, this is turned off by default, but available to you so you can decide which ones are the most important for your organization to enable this powerful feature on. When we look at the generic inquiry screen on the interface options tab, we now have a detect anomalies checkbox. When that is selected, the anomaly detection tab appears where we can enter some data. So the field that we're going to be analyzing, for example, the production material variance, so the production employee efficiency screen is going to be helpful for comparing actual output across employees that are doing the same tasks. In that regard, we're going to need to know the order type, the bill of material ID, the revision that they're working on, and the operation, so we can compare like items. The update frequency can be also defined directly on the generic inquiry screen. We've got this one set up for on demand because we want to have some control in the beginning, but maybe we want to do this weekly or monthly, automatically, daily, from one screen. The ability to schedule that in one place makes it really convenient. When it comes to the other views that are provided to us, the production material variance view is going to help compare planned versus actual costs by operation. If we have some anomalies here detected, they are going to appear and be color-coded, very easy to see. I'll show you that in a second. The production labor variance view is going to help us identify discrepancies in labor time and cost from our plan. And if we've gone way off track, we're going to be able to see that quickly here. Again, finding those needles in a haystack in a really large production environment is very difficult without some assistance. This powerful tool in anomaly detection is really going to help us do that proactively without needing to look for this data. It's going to come to us, right? And that's a huge way that Acumatica, dedicated to the future of our platform, is integrating AI in a real world way and giving us tools to use AI, not just to talk about it or chat with a bot here, right? But we're actually utilizing these things to give us actionable insights and data proactively without having to search for those. So if you want to set up those 4 new inquiries, the settings for doing that, the BOM ID, revision ID, those things I just spoke about, are all defined here in the recommended settings section of the release notes available for you. Acumatica has provided that. That makes it really easy to do. There's also another new screen called Detect Anomalies in Generic Inquiries, where we can act on these things in a bulk way, right? Maybe we want to set a schedule for doing all of them. They all actually have their own schedules, but we can do this if they were on demand. For example, we could have a schedule set to do multiple operations at one time. The costs in AP documents screen here is another one that was provided to us by Acumatica in the last release. You can see some evidence here that we have the inquiry set up for detecting anomalies. We can view that inquiry and even see the results of those anomalies quickly and visually. The anomaly severity here is going to help us detect those which are standout, right? Any medium or significant anomalies are going to be color-coded and very easy to pick out. If we wanted to see only those significant ones, we can hide the rest. Another way of making this work for us is to utilize other Acumatica features like business events and notifications. So if we set up a simple business event out of the box, this tool is available to us, setting up the business event for emailing us notifications of anomalies. Very easy to do. We set some significant and medium. We only want to know about the important ones. When the generic inquiry that we've set up detects one of those anomalies, it's going to send an email notification out to us with information about those. We don't even need to go find it. Acumatica has provided even the HTML formatting for making this look very efficient and easy to read. You don't have to open an attachment. All of the rows come in in the body of the email. I've got an example here to show you. So we detected some medium and some significant anomalies, and this is what the email would look like, driven by that business event directly to the user without having to go looking for those. All right, so other ways we're using AI in Acumatica. Strati, what's next?
Yeah, so moving into the distribution section, but also to Nathan's point, still focusing on AI. Previously in Acumatica, businesses manually had to manage cross-sell relationships across a growing catalog. It was a really time-consuming process, and it could lead to missed revenue opportunities. And that is why Acumatica created a feature that enables businesses to automatically create relevant cross-sell suggestions using machine learning that's trained on your specific business's historical sales data. This helps boost revenue and efficiency by saving you time and giving your users control to review, approve, and fine-tune recommendations as needed. That's one thing I think that is important to call out, is like a lot of the times when Acumatica is using machine learning, it's really just learning from your business's specific data. And so when it's sending up cross-sell suggestions, that's just relevant cross-sell suggestions to you. But then, like I said in that last part, you're also able to fine tune those recommendations, right? So sure, the machine is learning your business, understanding your historical sales data, but then you're also able to interact with it in a way that's intuitive to ensure that your business is getting the best results possible. So Nathan, I'll pass it over to you so you can show what it looks like in the application.
Thank you, Strati. All right, so for cross-sell items, we're utilizing these on the sales order screen. We can set some things up in advance on the sales order preferences screen. We now have a machine learning tab where we can define our cross-sell assistant settings. Again, building assistants directly into Acumatica. We're using AI to make the tools, right? We're not only unleashing this powerful thing, but we're designing it in a way to be useful to you. Utilizing the new large language models to make real effective tools. Looking at the cross-sell assistant settings, we can define the data period. If we want to look back a year or less or more, we can define that here. The minimum relevance score is how the machine learning model calculates that score based on factors like the frequency of items sold together. So a minimum relevance score of 65 is the default. We can set that anywhere between 50 and 100. Setting it too high is going to mean that you're going to get fewer suggestions, but setting it too low might end up with stuff that doesn't really go together, some really kind of odd stuff. So again, having a relevance score and being able to tune that here is really going to give us some good control guardrails around this AI beast and make it work in the way that we want without overwhelming us. So the maximum number of suggestions is going to work together with this checkbox as add relations as active. We can do that automatically as part of the generation here, right? So we can remove previous suggestions if they exceed our maximum number. Any suggestions that were done manually, those are going to be exclusive and be kept for us, so it doesn't take over. It just augments and supplements us with useful ways. Those new suggestions can be automatically added as active when generated if the checkbox is checked. The notification setting also able to send out a notification saying that we have new suggestions to be reviewed. If you're not doing it automatically, you want to have some control over that and review the settings by the machine or the suggestions made by the machine. You can do that after being notified automatically. On the item classes screen, we also have a machine learning tab. The machine learning tab on the item classes screen is a place where we can set some things like the excluded order types or item classes. Sorry, we can set that also on the sales order preferences section. So for example, if we didn't want to suggest related items to things like miscellaneous charges or deposit, we can exclude item classes. If we wanted to exclude certain order types from being analyzed by the machine, we can leave out straight invoices or return orders. We don't want to suggest items to be returned. So looking at the machine learning tab on the item classes screen, we also have some more controls. If we wanted to prefer items of other classes, maybe we want to get more visibility into other business areas or marketing segments, we can suggest items from other classes, or we can stay within the same class. with a restriction here. If we didn't want to restrict, leaving it as all classes will suggest any item or look at any item for suggestion. Also, we can limit the price. Maybe we've got buy one, get one of a equal or lesser value kind of thing. We can suggest only lower price items as well. These settings also can be overridden at the particular stock item level. So if you have exceptions to items within a class, you can manage those independently. All right. So again, looking at our the settings tab. Sorry, on the related items tab. So again, here you can see evidence of automatically suggested related items. I didn't have to go looking through my history or even know my inventory very well to understand which items were most often chosen together and get some new relevant information when I'm on the phone with a customer. If you're training a new representative and a new person in your company doesn't know the catalog very well, this can be a very powerful tool for maximizing those upsell and cross-sell opportunities. When you're ready to do this in practice, there's a screen for generating cross-sell suggestions. You can see it takes some time. I did this for us in advance so we could have the use of this in the demo, but clicking the process button is going to run that, and viewing the history of that is also possible. So we sent out some 520 unique inventory items across 80 customers and many invoices. And we were able to return some suggestions. When we are ready to review the suggestions returned to us, they're going to appear also on the related items tab of the stock item, but there is a manage cross-selling suggestions screen where we can approve or disapprove or delete those suggestions in bulk. So again, if we wanted to look at just a particular item, maybe the Baby 1 has some suggestions, hitting Shift F on my keyboard makes a quick filter. I can see that the other items sold with it and when they were sold, I can again apply some new suggestions with effective dates here. Clicking process or process all is going to do this automatically, and again can also all be scheduled. If you wanted to review suggestions that had been deleted, the cross-selling suggestions inquiry is now going to show us all of those suggestions, whether they have been approved or not. Again, we can have history and traceability into everything the machine's doing. Again, being able to trust that information is a huge part of making this work for us. All right, so how else can we use AI in our order fulfillment process strategy?
Yeah, so there is a new feature around order orchestration. Many of you know that manual warehouse selection for order fulfillment was historically a really time-consuming process and could be riddled with errors, and it was inefficient, frankly, to be very blunt with you, especially for businesses that have multiple warehouse locations. So Acumatica saw this amongst their user base and created Order Orchestration Assistant, which automates warehouse selection using configurable fulfillment strategies. It really focuses on optimizing your fulfillment processes based on things like shipping zones or warehouse priorities. The benefits here are huge. It reduces fulfillment time and manual effort because it allows the computer to do some of the heavy lifting on a process that took up too much time for employees. It also improves inventory allocation accuracy and can easily scale with your organization as you increase the volume of your operation thanks to this mass orchestration functionality. So Nathan, if you want to dive into that, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So we've got two ways of setting this up. You're going to choose your fulfillment strategy, right? Are you going to be, first off, prioritizing the destination? Now, this might be best for companies that have similar inventory across many warehouses or multiple warehouses. If you've got everything in the same place, the destination is going to be the priority. You want to ship it from the closest place if you've got it in two. If you want to prioritize the warehouse, this is going to be best for companies that have varying quantities of items in different warehouses or that might sell perishable goods that need to get batched together. So the first thing we're going to do is define some shipping zones. You can see I've got a couple of examples here. The central shipping zone includes the following states. So the shipping zone we're going to fulfill in one way or another, right? Where we are able to define our orchestration plan. That's the next piece. So once we've got the shipping zones set up, we're going to set up some orchestration plans. You can see I've got a couple of examples here. If I find the central orchestration plan and drill in there, You can see we have the ability to set up the fulfillment strategy here, whether that's, again, by destination or by warehouse. Choosing destination is going to choose a shipping zone. Moving to one that uses a warehouse priority, we're going to use the source warehouse, and whether or not to include the source warehouse when we're doing our orchestration, and what other warehouses we might want to include. We also have a toggle here to maintain safety stock when we're prioritizing these warehouses. So again, keeping those critical features available and useful. All right, so once we've got a shipping zone and an orchestration plan set up, the next thing we're going to do is check our order types. So we can set up an order type, and if we're using issue and processing shipments, and this is based on the sales order type, we're going to be able to set our orchestration capabilities here at the order type level. We'll define how we want the order type handled, whether by warehouse or destination, and whether we want to limit the number of fulfillment warehouses by order type to a specific number. Now, once we've got that, we're ready to review and orchestrate a sales order. Maybe we've got a new order we're going to enter. We can go in and pull up our sales orders list here, make sure that we've got the inventory available. Okay. Go ahead and add in a new order. All right, so we're going to select a customer, one that exists in our central zone. Electronic Importers is in Texas. So we're going to be shipping to Electronic Importers. They're ready to order some laptops from us, or sorry, some computer packages, these Elecom One packages, right? We can see that we've got a few options. It's available in more than one warehouse. We have 535 in the retail and 120 available in the wholesale warehouse. Now, if they needed 600 and we were to add 600 to be shipped from the default warehouse, in this case retail, we get an immediate warning, tells us the available quantity is insufficient. We can see down here our statistics down at the bottom showing us how many we have on hand, how many are available. But again, we can't fulfill that from one place. As soon as I save the order, we should see a new button pop up at the top of the screen that says Orchestrate Orders. We'll give it a second to register with the database here. And there it is. The Orchestrate Order button becomes available. If I'm looking at the shipping tab, a couple things to note. This doesn't work for orders that are will call. This kind of tripped me up when I was doing my testing. So make sure that you're using a proper ship via carrier. And if that is all selected and it's supported for your selected order type, down here at the bottom of the shipping tab, you should see some data about the orchestration status is new, hasn't been done yet. If it has failed, we would be able to see that here, or if it was, in other words, unsuccessful, and whether or not it had been processed, right? So again, having that visibility here into the status of the order is super helpful. Clicking the Orchestrate Order button is going to take action, right? It's going to bring up the order orchestration plan for us. It's actually doing a plan. It's looking at all of the pre-configured settings I have in the setup, taking that item, looking across two warehouses we can fulfill with. Retail, we'll need 535 from there. We're not reserving safety stock, you saw on our orchestration plan. And then we can fulfill the supplemental 65 units from the wholesale warehouse. As soon as I click save, the orchestration assistant is going to take a second step in action for me in splitting that line item to be delivered from multiple warehouses automatically without the need to do this manually. I don't need to look through the system. The assistant is really there to hold my hand all the way through. Now, similar to other screens in Acumatica, we've got a mass processing screen for orchestrating the orders. You can do this in bulk as well. All right. I see we're running short on time, Strati. Let's.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if you wanted to hold off on sending multiple documents in one email for the next one.
Yeah, we can certainly cover that. I don't want to keep people longer than they expected. We want to be respectful of everyone's time. It is a powerful feature, and it's rather self-explanatory. So let's go into that in the next one. But you are able to now consolidate emails to customers and vendors, multiple documents in one email, and multiple Acumatica documents in one single PDF capability as well, making that much more streamlined and usable for your users. Go ahead.
Yeah, fantastic. And so I didn't see any questions roll in during the call, so I'm just going to wrap up, like Nathan said, to be respectful of everyone's time. As a reminder, we will have a part 2. I'll send that invite out in 2 weeks. We are going to focus on things, if you can go to the next slide for me, Nathan. like e-commerce integration updates, additional reporting enhancements, including something like generic inquiry query language, which Nathan is very excited about, and Tim, our COO, is also equally excited about. There's some more manufacturing updates, and it sounds like we're also going to be covering sending multiple documents in one email. If there aren't any questions, which there aren't, I would like to give a massive thank you to Nathan. As always, you did a wonderful job today, and we appreciate you demonstrating 25R2 to our customers. I'm sure it provided them with a lot of fantastic insights into how their business will be able to use the things that we covered today to be more efficient when they transition to this newest edition of Acumatica. Again, thank you, everyone. Your customer success manager's email is on the screen right now. If you have any questions, reach out to them. They'll surely help you out. You should all have a dedicated timeline for when you will be upgrading to 25R2. So just talk to them about that process. And to answer the one question that we did get, we can absolutely send you a recording. I will make sure to have that ready for everyone tomorrow. So I'll just send that to all of our customers to make sure that everyone has this insight on 25R2. And we'll do the same thing with part 2 of this webinar series. So thanks, everyone, and have a lovely day. Thanks again, Nathan.
Thank you, Strati. Always a pleasure working together. And thank you again to our audience for your time. Have a great day.
Awesome.